We've added in the ability in this version of JobPro to track products by serial numbers. So for example, if you're purchasing goods from a supplier and those items need to be tracked by serial numbers, on receiving the goods on a purchase order, you can be prompted to specify what serial numbers based on the quantity that you're receiving in. Also in other areas that use up goods, like assembling products made of costings or raw materials or components, you're also specified to say, well, what serial numbers, if relevant, of items are you using from stock to make the finished products. So by introducing this new feature, we also needed to add in what we call the units module. So everything in here is tracked by serial numbers and everything is a quantity of 1. So for example, if we look first of all at a product in the products module, so here we've got a product, we're specifying it as tracked by stock, but it's also tracked individually using serial numbers, and we can say that we generate the serial numbers either manually or automatically. But we can also then look at the product level any units or serial numbers relating to that product. Now all this information in here is coming from the new units module. So everything that has a serial number is a quantity of 1, and we can track that item then all the way from initially when it came in on a PO through maybe being transferred between different stock locations. A unit or an asset could be then used on jobs, for example, for rental use, for tracking for doing service and maintenance if it's customer related assets, but also just for direct selling to customers. So we can see here for this particular item that there's a number of them in stock, and it shows then the location that they're currently in. So let's take a look at one of these units or serial numbers, and that'll bring us directly into the units module. So click on the arrow. We're now in the units module, and we can see here that this particular item, what its serial number is, that it's tied to a specific product, its usage is for sell use, and its status is it's for sale. So for example, we could come in here and we could see that a particular status of an item is for sale, or it's a customer item, in other words it's been sold to the customer, or an item is for rental use or loan use, or an item is actually on rent or currently on loan, or an item is an internal item, or it's actually inactive, so maybe it was broken or sold, etc. So an item is treated as an asset if it's an internal item, or it could be a customer asset as well. So we can also see where an item originally was introduced into the system. In this case, it was added into the system like an opening balance. So if you're using the system for the first time and you've got stock, you can input that into the products module and you'll input it as like a stock movement or an opening balance. But usually an item in here is going to show that it was received on, for example, a purchase order, or that maybe it was assembled. And in doing so, both of those options, you'll specify the serial number for the item that you're introducing into the system. Another ideal use of the assets or the units module is for items that you can rent out or use or loan on jobs and tasks. So we've added in a bookings tab into this screen as well. So we can create a booking from an actual asset and book it on a job or on a task, and we can charge it out as well if it's a rental item. So let's do a search in the units module just to show you anything that has been booked on a job here. Here we can see a particular asset or an item, and it was being used on 2 different jobs and they're both complete. And in the case of this item, it's inactive because it was lost on the last job it was used on. Also, as you're introducing units or assets into the system, whether it's on a purchase order or assembling products or just opening balances, you can also attach a group of assets or units to a batch at the point of time of introducing those items or assembling them into stock. More information on the batches module is covered in separate video tutorials. If we look back in the General tab for this particular item, we can see the full history of movements for that item. It was removed from the system here as an expense because it was lost on a job. Previously it was used as a resource on a job. It was also used for rental use on another job. We can click on the arrow to view more details as well. And you can see it was also transferred between two stock locations as well. If we click on an arrow beside a product movement, like for example in this case a transfer, we can see more details in relation to that product movement. So that gives a quick overview of what the new units module is all about. It's about tracking serial numbers, items that you sell or you rent out or loan out, or internal assets as well that you use on jobs or just use internally. You can track all those from within the system here. And also if a customer brought in an item or wanted you to do a service or a maintenance job on an item that you haven't sold them, you can also introduce items into units from the customer screen as well. So we can add a unit or an asset from here, and that will be linked directly to that customer. We can specify what product or what type of equipment is it that they're introducing into the system. And then we specify what the serial number is in here. So for more information on the units module, please see the separate video tutorial on the units section.